Hoffman here, welcoming you to Radiator Springs Speedway, where Lightning McQueen and the Doc Hudson Racing Academy team are taking on all the challengers in the qualifying rounds for the Race-o-Rama Series trophy.
Hello gamers, today I am finally finishing my series of playing the Cars 1 video games. Because if you don't know, the first Cars movie has 3 spin-off games, the first being Cars the video game, and then Cars Made a National, and finally arriving at Cars Race-o-Rama. So first, let's talk about how this game compares to the other game. It does have a map menu that allows you to teleport to the start of every event, which may be a good thing, but this game also has some of the best maps in the series. And well, if you're teleporting everywhere, you're not going to get to explore them as much as you would if in the previous games where you had to drive everywhere. Like, on one topic I feel this game improves over Made a National is the Race-o-Rama Championship feels more important to the story. Whereas I feel in the aforementioned Made a National, the Made a National Championship seems to play second fiddle to the building of McQueen HQ. But now the Race-o-Rama Cup seems more like a championship with a B story, that is to find out what racing academy is better between the Doc Hudson Racing School and the rival school, that of course being the Chick Hicks Racing Academy. And I feel that's just the better setup for a Cars game. Like your main championship, that's the main story. There may be a B story of finding out who has the better racing school or building a race factory or whatever it was in the first game. But let's move on to talk about playable characters in the story that are not Mr. McQueen. And first up is Luigi, everyone's favourite Ferrari supporter. And well, the mission is called Luigi's Tyre Find, and well, you can probably guess at the objective for that quest. And if you can't, I will help you out just a little bit. Luigi drives around finding lost tyres. And I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't complete this one, as I gave it a couple shots, I couldn't find all the tyres. And I recently also just played for an Ubisoft collectathon game, and well, I didn't really want to have to collect stuff, so I didn't. But anyways, who better to talk about after Luigi than his forklift friend Greedo? Greedo? I know I forgot how to say his last name in the first Cars video, and I was going to look it up, but I didn't. But I've written it down in my script as Q-U-I-D-O, which I think is Greedo? The forklift guy. And he takes place in a bunch of kart races, which is basically this game's version of Mario Kart. Or to bring up a game I have covered recently, it's this game's version of Lego 2K Drive. You basically race as the forklift against a bunch of other smaller cars, if that be forklifts from other pit teams. Luigi's there. There's this female car who I don't remember if she has a name or not. But basically you're racing against all the smaller cars, and there are power-ups you can collect throughout the drive, giving you either a speed boost that is instant or used over time, or to fire off smoke screen out the back of your car, or to be able to drive through other cars and objects. And I would have enjoyed this a lot more if it wasn't for the fact that sometimes I would just get stuck turning in one direction and get slammed into a wall for like a minute or possibly fall through the map, which when this happened at the same corner every time and there's nothing I could do to prevent it, I may have gave up on those races pretty quickly. There is also Sheriff Chase, a returning quest that you have played before in Made a National. And the goal is basically, as Sheriff, you have to chase down streetcars and you have to stay near them in a certain order of time to pull them over, which I liked in Made a National and I still enjoyed here. Now, would it really be a Cars game if you didn't play as the one and only Mater? I mean, it probably would, but it wouldn't be one I want to play. Now, Mater has a storyline, but there are also 3 other missions that were just like quick time-esque events to do as Mater. And the first of these is entitled Mater the Grader, which is basically Mater performing a stunt jump over the canyon, sort of like Evel Knievel-esque with a spruced up paint job. And then there is Tokyo Mater, which has Mater drifting around the streets of Tokyo. And this was probably my favourite quest throughout the whole game. It only took like a minute 30 seconds, but drifting around Tokyo as Maida was pretty fun. Even though the fact that it was quite laggy compared to the rest of the game, and I felt like most of it was in 15 frames a second, most likely due to the fact that a large amount of neon was used during this mission. But anyways, on to the last side quest, that is El Matador, which is basically Maida being a matador, and the longer you wait waiting to dodge the bull tractor, the higher score you get. But now it's time to get on to the little Maida mini storyline. There are 3 new tow trucks in Radiator Springs, Tater, Tater Jr, and their leader tractor, Bubba. And they want the towing rights to Radiator Springs. Well, more directly, Bubba wants the towing rights to Radiator Springs. The Taters are very much like Maida, and Maida, for most of the races, which is how they obviously decide who gets the towing rights by races, doesn't even know that Bubba is trying to steal the towing rights from under him. He just thinks he's racing with his new friends. But even with Maida's lack of knowledge throughout most of them, he is still able to retain the towing rights to Radiator Springs, and makes some new friends with the Taters along the way. After Maida goes off with his friends, I think we should quickly touch on the types of races that you will be doing as everyone's favourite Piston Cup winner, Lightning McQueen. And the first and my favourite of these is the autocross races. It's basically a very short point-to-point race where you have to complete the course within a set time, and there are obstacles like cones and walls in your way, and every time you hit an obstacle it adds 3 seconds to your timer, and every time you hit the wall it adds an extra second. And of course, to make it actually a challenge, it removes Lightning McQueen's ability to jump as a car. And then after autocross, I guess autocross also falls into these categories, but the other 2 categories are point-to-point races or lapped races. Some of them just have different flares added to them. Like Transporter is a point-to-point race where you have to deliver something against a package and you're only racing the timer. Or there is lapped races where the most unique one is probably a relay race, returning from Maida National, where you swap cars every lap for 3 laps. So this game's story is, well, pretty basic. I mean, it is a Cars game. The main story of the Cars game is that McQueen is going around to all these new towns to race against cars that are a part of the Chick Hicks Racing Academy to prove the worth of the Doc Hudson Racing Academy. And in order to completely prove that Doc's school, the one that McQueen goes to, is the best, they are going to win the Race-o-Rama Cup. And after some racing around the Radiator Springs Raceway, which was of course built during the game of Maida National, and then some more races around Radiator Springs proper, it's finally time to head off and experience one of those new towns. That town being San Carburera, an oceanside picturesque town probably based on Santa Monica, the home of the rich cars of the world. And talking about the richest cars in the world, the member of the Chick Hicks Racing Academy in San Carburera is one Candace, insert joke here, a girl who has her dad buy her any parts she needs in order to be the best racer. Unfortunately, even with all the money in the world, she is beaten around the streets of her hometown by lightning.
No. Daddy promised that I'd never lose. I'm calling him right now. Daddy, I want new tires, new paint, new everything. And I want it now!
Whatever you want, sweetie. I'll make the usual arrangements.
Thank you, Daddy. Now I've got some shopping to do. You know how buying always makes my hurt go away. Out of my way, you parasites. Daddy just opened a slew of platinum accounts on Romeo Drive, and I plan on maxing out every one.
And then after you've completed beating the person from the Chick Hicks Racing Academy from each town, you then return to Radiator Springs for a couple side races. And these returns is also where the Maida Freeline Story Park Quest extravaganza takes place. But after that, you head off to Autovia, an industrial western town and home to Motorco. Motorco is a company that works with Chick Hicks to turn normal cars into what they call VINs, which is your sort of like robotic stock car. and these cars will fill up the rest of the races throughout the main story. Apart from the VIN cars, there is also El Macho Mista. Macho Mista being a member of Chick's school, and the only notes I have on him is that this guy really sounds like Randy Savage if Randy Savage was a trophy truck. But then I looked it up and he's voiced by Randy Savage. But it turns out Macho Mista wasn't macho enough to fend off the force of Lightning McQueen. So
it was supposed to be me time. Bigger than big. Better than bad. You! It's you and Motorco's fault. I need more RPMs. Bigger tires. Bigger shocks. Bigger fenders. Bigger everything to crush y'all!
Man, even I'm not that much of a sore loser.
after a quick another pit stop back to the Springs, the last stop to defeat the Chick Hicks Racing Academy is Motopolis, which is basically based on any modern city, probably New York, because of course it's New York, with some interesting spots to race around, including one spot where you jump on a bunch of apartment roofs. But anyways, the final opponent is the one and only Stinger, a muscle car that doesn't like to talk much, just sort of growls angrily at everyone. But unlike a Sith, he doesn't channel that anger into a victory.
You call yourself a muscle car? More like a steel-brained, worthless bucket of bolts. Well, what do you have to say for yourself? Smile now. Go ahead. But just wait. I still got some surprises for you, including our plans for Radiator.
Now, however, it is time to return to the Radiator Springs Speedway for the final race of the Race-o-Rama Cup, which is somehow still coming down to the wire, even though McQueen has won almost every single race he has taken part in. But like always, Lightning picks up the win and hoists the Race-o-Rama Cup above his head, with Chick getting very mad at his academy's loss and abandons all of his students, with McQueen inviting them to join the Doc Hudson School to make winners out of them yet. There is still time to turn them into real race cars, of course.
I should have just poured my time, money, and energy into myself instead of Candace and those other clown cars. Then I would have beat you. I could have won it all. I could have been the champ.
You could have been a better racer, but you weren't. Chick, there's more to racing than winning at all costs. The best racers are part of a team, something beyond themselves. The sooner you learn that, the sooner you won't be alone.
I'll get revenge. Stay alert. I'm coming after you when you least expect it. I promise you that.
Poor Chick. He'll never learn. But that doesn't mean the cars at the Academy and I won't keep having fun trying to teach him.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Good going, kid.
Lightning? The others and I wanted to apologize for how we behaved on the track.
Yeah, you're better than bad. Faster than fast.
Sorry, I don't understand.
He means that he likes the way you race. And I have to admit, I do too. Even though it takes the spotlight off of me.
Well, thanks. I really appreciate it. And you're all welcome to come by the Doc Hudson Academy anytime. We'd love to have you.
That's better than bad.
Oh, thank you. Mwah! Perhaps you'd like to say thank you? I'm sure, deep inside, he's grateful too.
And then the game fades to black. And also with that, the little series of me looking at the Cars 1's movie video games trilogy has come to an end. And if you have watched them all, first, thank you. Second, I mentioned that I've only ever played the first Cars game on the Wii port before any of this. And I originally planned to replay that game, and I also said I might check out Race-o-Rama as it was developed by the same people who did the Wii port that I remember from my childhood. And well, I decided to check out Made National on a whim of a friend telling me they liked it a lot as a kid. And well, it only took me 9 months, but I have played them all now and enjoyed all of them for different reasons. I don't even know if I can rank what games I enjoyed the most. If you guys have one you prefer, to let me know in the comments below. And maybe leave a like and subscribe whilst you are down there. Anyways, I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video, which unfortunately will not be related to animatronic talking automobiles.